Have you ever felt like meditation is fake? Like you are trying to force yourself into a calm, peaceful state?
Inner peace. Inner peace.
But inside you are still human, still messy.
Dinner, please. Dinner with peas in a sesame soy glaze. This is not working at all.
If you have felt that, you are not alone. And what if I told you meditation isn't some divine pathway to eternal enlightenment, but a performance and a creative role play? In this talk, I'll share you what 8 years of deep spiritual practice taught me, that meditation, as beautiful and helpful as it can be, is not a permanent transformation.
No!
It's a temporary mental character that we step into. We'll also talk about how spirituality became obsessed with appearing enlightened, and why teachers pretend to be calm all the time, why many modern gurus are just actors trapped in their own script, and most importantly, how we can reclaim meditation as a playful, artistic, and honest human experience without guilt, pressure, or illusion. So let's begin by stepping behind the curtain. For 8 years, I immersed myself deeply into this path of meditation and spirituality. I gave it my time, my energy, my full dedication. I practiced sincerely, I observed, experimented, and explored within. And now, after all that, I can say it with complete clarity that meditation is not a divine ladder that takes you to a permanent enlightenment. Meditation is in truth a performance and a creative role play. Just like an actor in a theater or film workshop prepares to become a character, meditation is about stepping into a mental and emotional role. You shift posture, you change your inner dialogue. You cultivate peace, compassion, stillness, you rehearse silence, and you perform awareness. When the curtain rises, you enter into the character of meditation or being a Buddha-like character completely. But like any good character, when the performance ends, you step out of the role, you return to your real life.
Mind it.
Cut it! Super!
Some parts of the character stay with you, a gesture, a mood, or a new sensitivity. But you don't become that character forever. And yet this temporary performance has become a permanent obsession. Now here is where things starts to get complicated. Even though this performance is meant to be temporary, we are taught something different. We are told things like, if you meditate correctly, you will become serene, wise, and enlightened forever. And this is where the illusion begins. Because truth is much more simpler, more human. We are not perfect. We are emotional, we are unpredictable, we grow, we break down, we get angry, we forget, we fall, and we rise again. Our minds aren't peace-producing machines. They are messy and creative. Yet this character presented in meditation teachings is often an idealized figure. Unreal, hyper-focused, hyper-peaceful, flawless, and naturally we are drawn to it. Because our real lives are rarely that calm. So yes, meditation as performance can help us, but in this is the key. Only if we remember it's a role. It's not a permanent identity. It's not a permanent Buddhahood. Now let's take this one step deeper. If we follow this idea further, we find something even more revealing. What many spiritual traditions call Buddhahood is actually a fictional character created over time by gurus and teachings. And sadhana, your daily discipline as they refer to, is simply the rehearsal framework for playing that character. But here's the catch. If you fail to match that character perfectly, and you will fail because you are a human, and you may have doubts about the reality of meditation along the way, then you are told you have strayed from the path, your sadhana is weak, strengthen your sadhana and you will be worthy to experience it. This creates a very dangerous loop of guilt and self-judgment. Now imagine a character who keeps playing the same role, not just on stage but at home, in the market, during arguments, even at weddings. Would we call them enlightened or mentally unwell? And yet, this obsessive role play is what modern spirituality often demands. That's madness, pure madness. So, where does that leave us? I would say in a very delusional understanding. Now, let me offer a more practical, more human suggestion. Treat meditation like an art. A creative performance, just like an actor steps into the role, we too can step into meditative state, not forever, but for a time, once a month, a few times a year. Like once in a while you go to watch movies, like that, attend a silence retreat. Sit with yourself, step into the stillness. Be that Buddha-like presence, briefly, intentionally, and then come back. Return to your daily life. Take with you a little silence, a little patience, a little awareness, and let go of the rest. No guilt, no pressure to be perfect, no shame for being human. Now, while we are being honest, there's something important I need to say to meditation teachers. This is especially for you. You don't need to act enlightened all the time.
Jadguru!
What? I wasn't sleeping. I was in a trance.
Somewhere down the line, this loop began. Your teacher acted enlightened, and so you thought this is how I must teach. And slowly, generation by generation, the performance became tradition. But please stop performing the role. Just teach the students how to act meditation. Because when you always appear calm, composed, and spiritually superior, your student starts to believe they must be like 24/7. That's not guidance, that's gaslighting. It creates confusion, it fosters the guilt, and many times it leads to psychological harm. I can tell this from my own experience. So you are not a guru character, but more like an acting teacher or an acting director. Understand the depth of the role, help others explore it, but don't get stuck in. Because if you do, you are not helping, you are trapped, and you are trapping your students too. Now I'll say something that may sound even more controversial, but it's worth considering. The Buddha we know about may never have been that way. And so-called fully enlightened beings we know about from the past, they were just human as you are, as I am. They may have shared stories to uplift and inspire their fellow humans, but over time, those stories were misunderstood. Their fiction became mythology, and that mythology was sold as eternal truth. Back then, there were no cameras, no recordings, no internet, no CGI, no VFX, and no Netflix. So maybe the only way to move people was to perform awakeness in real life. That may have worked then, but today we know performance when we see it. We have seen thousands of films, we have studied characters, we know what's real and what's acting. So when a modern guru pretends or tries to be or shows like he's something divine, it doesn't inspire, it feels fake. If you want to share the message of Buddhahood, make a film about it, write a book about it, tell a story, but don't become the story. Now I also want to bring up valid doubt that has always existed. For many grounded, normal people, there has always been a quiet doubt back in their minds that meditation feels fake. Why it feels fake? Let's answer that. It feels fake because when an everyday person tries it and compares it with their messy life, it feels scripted, forced, inauthentic, and that is the red flag. And this red flag that arises is not a mistake, it's a wisdom. Because if a practice collapses under honest scrutiny, if it can't stand up to basic human intelligence, then it's not a universal truth. It's a psychological illusion. Let's bring it all together. We humans are imaginative creatures. As children, we create fairy tales. As adults, we believe in money, in religion, in nations, all shared fictions. Meditation is no different. It is a useful fiction, a beautiful one, as long as we treat it as imagination, not as absolute truth. The problem begins when we call this fictional truth and use it to measure human worth. So here's what I believe. Meditation is a role we can choose to play from time to time to make our lives more peaceful, more beautiful. We intelligent, emotional, creative human beings have invented this character framework as a psychological tool. Use it when you need it, swipe it left when you don't need it. It has its place, and that's enough. That's the kind of spirituality we need now. Honest, grounded, and human. And that was the talk. If this talk resonated with you, if it gave you a fresh honest way to look at meditation. And if you are someone who is tired of the noise and ready to explore spirituality and psychology in a more grounded human light, then I invite you to stay connected. I make more content like this where we strip away the illusions, challenge the myths, and uncover the truth hiding behind in plain sight. So if that's something you want more of, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Together, let's build a space where intelligence meets spirituality and where humans are allowed to be beautifully imperfect. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the... Oh,